Yo, what's up, guys? It's MMA Analyst here to give you my predictions for UFC 139. Before we get down to it, let me just make an announcement about this card. In regards to betting, there are some good numbers. They're tough fights to pick, a lot of them. A lot of toss-ups, a lot of, brawlers fighting where anything can happen. But when that happens, then, if you get a couple right, you can make some good money because the odds are closer. When the odds are closer, there's more money on your on each bet. All right. So if you want to bet, if you're interested in getting involved and you haven't in the past, send a message to me. I'll send you a link. If you are gonna bet, and you haven't signed up anywhere, ask me. I'll send you a link. It does help me out a lot. Just get that out there. Sports Interaction, Bodog. I'll send you the links and we can go from there. But anyways, that would also give you a free month of betting picks for each site that you signed up for through one of my links. All right. So anyways, let's get right down to it. UFC 139. Let's talk about the main event. This is a tough one, okay? Shogun has been as inconsistent a fighter as there is in the UFC, and he's been at the top of the division. Part of that is because he fights injured, and part of that is because, he's just been fighting the best guys. So, even with his win over Machida, both of them, the first one he lost, but he was in total shape there. But in the second fight, he actually was injured, and they were possibly going to pull him out of that fight, or he was going to possibly pull out. So he fought injured in that one. The John Jones fight, people can say whatever they want. If you think that Shogun was 100% and that a knee to the jaw and him being on his back in half guard is the reason why he was dead tired after about 3 minutes, then that's up to you. I happen to know otherwise. Not a theory, no, as in talk to folks within the crew and whatnot. So I know that was not the case. He was not ready for that fight. He fought, whatever. Against Forrest Griffin, he did his thing, but that's just a fight where, the first time he fought, he was injured. I'm not saying every loss is a loss because of him, but he doesn't help himself out a lot by just taking these fights and I'm not saying he should sit around and not fight and just wait till he's perfect, because everybody's not 100% when they fight. But anyways, the point is, folks, that it's very hard to predict stuff with Shogun because who knows how good he is right now? How hurt is he? How back is he from previous whatevers and whatnots? And he's not fighting Forrest Griffin here. He's fighting Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson, one of the best jaws in the game. You're not going to knock out Dan Henderson. Really good wrestling. Good cardio. He can go. This is going to be a 5-round fight. So now it comes down to, what does Dan Henderson want to do? If Dan Henderson wants to walk around with that H-bomb just waiting here and trying to walk down Mauricio, then if Shogun's in shape, he can probably leg kick out, cross out, get in, out. He's definitely going to be faster than Dan Henderson if Dan Henderson's trying to stalk him. But if Dan Henderson's trying to get it to the ground, if Dan Henderson's, being a well-rounded mixed martial artist like he has been in the past and like he can be, then that's a very difficult situation for Shogun, even if Shogun's 100%. Obviously, you guys know Shogun's one of my top 5 fighters. It's a very difficult fight to predict. If I think that Shogun is close to 100%, and if I think Dan Henderson is close to 100%, and Dan Henderson's going to go with the game plan he needs to go to win, which is takedowns, clinch work, dirty boxing, trying to gas Shogun, trying to hit Shogun from the top, to me that's 50-50 right there. If Shogun's hurt or anything like that, and Dan isn't, then that's Dan winning the fight. If Dan decides to stand up and strike with Shogun, then that's probably Shogun winning. It's just so many damn variables. What am I going to go with in this situation? Where am I going to go? Okay, real talk, right? My heart is obviously saying Shogun is going to be in shape. And my heart is saying that Shogun's going to execute a proper game plan. And even if Dan Henderson comes out there and tries to go for takedowns and tries to do all of that stuff, that Shogun is still going to be able to beat him on the cards. Now, This is going to be 15 minutes, so I don't think he's going to submit him. I don't think he's going to knock him out. So that makes it even more difficult. He's got to be ready for championship belt type of fight. That's my heart. My head is saying Dan Henderson's going to win this fight somehow. That even if he loses the first 2 rounds, he's not going to get finished. And he's actually going to be able to tire out Shogun and have more gas in the tank after maybe 10 minutes, definitely after, mid-3rd round, and take over that fight and, maybe win it, split decision Dan Henderson type of. That's what my head's saying. But here's what we're going to do, folks. So you know what I'm thinking, but you know what I'm feeling too. And at the end of the day, I'm a massive Shogun fan, and it is what it is. I am going to go with my boy Shogun Hart one last time. I knew he was going to smash Shogun. I thought he would be able to beat John Jones. I picked him against Machida both times, believing it. I had faith in him against Chuck. I knew he could beat Mark Coleman, and I just cried when he first lost to Forrest. Against these top dogs, I'm gonna do one more Hart one. I'm going with Shogun. I think he can pull it off. He's not like he's an easy fight. If dude is injured or comes out there and he's tired after 4 minutes, I can't pick him against top level competition anymore. Simple as that. It's just I gotta draw the line at some point. It's gonna be an awesome fight though. Definitely could be a fight of the night. Next fight, Wanderlei Silva versus Kung Lee. It's really strange to me. I mean, we all know Wanderlei Silva. He's not like he's 80 years old. He's only like 35 years old. But he spent his entire life in absolute wars. Like this he's like 65 years old in fight age. And it's not looked good lately. I mean, he's basically been Pride's Chuck, right? Chuck Liddell went out losing a whole bunch, and that's what's been happening to Wanderlei Silva. Mirko Krokop, Dan Henderson, Chuck Liddell, 3 straight losses. 2 of them were in the UFC. He got that nasty win over Keith Jardine. Then he lost to Quentin Rampage Jackson and Rich Franklin. Then he beat Michael Bisping. Then he lost to Chris Lieben. That's rough. What's 1, 2, and... That's 2 wins in his last 8 fights. Damn, that's rough. But the thing about Kung Lee is I don't think he's that dude. I mean, I know that Wanderlei Silva's deteriorated a bit, but is Kung Lee the kind of guy that's going to be able to do what Chris Lieben did? I predicted, let's not get it twisted. I said that Chris Lieben was going to get hit first with a hard shot, stumbled, rocked, and then he was going to react and hit Wanderlei Silva, and Wanderlei Silva wouldn't be able to take it. I said, Chris is going to get hit first. He's going to take it, and then he's going to dish it out. It's going to be like, all right, we're in a fight, and he's going to knock out Wanderlei. And I didn't want that to happen, but I picked it. It's exactly what happened. Wanderlei Silva's going to come across this cage and swarm Kung Lee like he's never been swarmed before. And is he the kind of guy that's going to be able to just step back, plant, and throw a straight or throw a counter? I don't think that's him. I think that he's going to get swarmed by Wanderlei Silva, and I think he's going to get caught and he's going to get finished. Now, yes, he's only had a couple fights, 8 fights as a mixed martial artist. He did have 14 fights, 16 fights, kind of like kickboxing, whatnot. But I mean, he's 39 and he hasn't fought since June 2010, right? A year and a half. I don't think Kung Lee's gonna be able to do it. If he can, then Wanderlei gotta just hang it up. Kung Lee is coming off of movie trailers and movie sets, not trailers. I guess it could be a trailer, right? He's hanging out in the trailer. But he's coming off movie sets and a year and a half layoff to fight Wanderlei Silva. I think Wanderlei Silva comes out there and swarms Kung Lee and beats him under 1 minute 30 seconds. My guess will be 1 minute and 2 seconds into the first round. Wanderlei will be the victor. Brian Bowles versus Uriah Faber. This one's it's tough. Brian Bowles he's got that ability to counter. He's got strong hands. He's definitely one of the top guys in the division. Uriah Faber does a lot of unorthodox stuff that I can't stand, jumping all over, up and down, all types of craziness. I understand what he's doing. It doesn't look good to me, and it's not effective against top guys like Jose Aldo, who's like, I know what you're doing. I'm gonna just smash you. But I don't think that Brian Bowles is going to be able to do what Jose Aldo was able to do, which is just be superior. I mean, in order to beat Uriah Faber, you just have to be superior. And I don't think that Brian Bowles is superior or superior to Uriah Faber. I do think Faber will be able to move around, do a whole lot of stuff without getting knocked out. I mean, that's really what it comes down to. Is he going to get knocked out coming in wildly with his hands down like he's doing, I don't know, the Superman or whatever? I don't think that's going to happen. I think he's going to get inside. He's going to turn this into a real fight, get the fight to the ground. I don't know if he's going to finish him, but I think Uriah Faber will most likely win, a decision, 3 rounds to nothing. Yeah, I think that's what's going to happen with Uriah Faber. And then next, let's see Uriah Faber versus Barao or something like that, right? That'd be a good idea. All right, Martin Kampmann versus Rick Story. Martin Kampmann, one of the most puzzling fighters. That's a nice politically correct way to put it. Puzzling. Jake Shields, he goes out there and tries to take him down. He tries to stand and bang with Paul Daly. And then in a fight where in the first round, you're like, wow. I picked Diego Sanchez to win that fight. And in the first round, I'm like, whoop, I got this one wrong because Diego Sanchez can't get what he needs to do done. Diego Sanchez had to turn that into a brawl. He absolutely had to brawl. And Martin Kampmann was just too good with the hands, and he was killing it with the takedown defense. So I was like, wow, Martin Kampmann's going to win this fight. And he literally just allowed Diego Sanchez to do what he wants. A lot of people still think he won the fight. But, when you decide to do something that's stupid in a fight, maybe you deserve to learn a lesson. And he has not learned his lesson yet. Paul Daly, he got knocked out when he should have, and he was trying to stand. He was up against the cage, back to the cage, throwing punches with Paul Daly, going for takedowns against Jake Shields, and then brawling with Diego Sanchez. So now he's fighting Rick Story. Rick Story, we know what he's going to do. He's going to try and get the fight to the ground. He's going to try and go at 100 miles an hour. He's going to try and push him up against the cage, take him down, tire him out, etc., etc. Do I think he's going to be able to do that? I'm not sure, but I know that Martin Kampmann has not shown me that he's smartened up. So, I mean, he needs to be Smartin Kampmann, you know what I mean? That's what he needs to do. Put an S in front of that M. But I'm going to go with Story to be able to just stick to his game plan and maybe even combine that a little bit with Martin Kampmann not doing what he needs to do. So I do have Rick Story defeating him. The minute Martin becomes Smartin, he's going to be going for a title shot after a couple fights. But until then, he's just going to be ridiculous. Next fight, Stephan Bonnar versus Kyle Kingsbury. Basically what we've got here is, a vet in Stephan Bonnar, a brawler. I guess that's about it, right? He's been in a lot of good fights. He's never going to get cut from the UFC no matter what happens. He's coming off a win over Krzysztof Szynski, a win over Igor Pakrajak, and now he's going in to fight Kyle Kingsbury. Simply put, I think that Kingsbury will be able to win this fight of brawling. I think his striking's better, his wrestling's better. Stephan Bonnar's not going to really go out there and go with a game plan where Kingsbury's like, oh no, what do I do now? I just literally think that he's just going to be able to go out there and, take shots, but not too many. And even if he does, Bonnar's wild punches don't knock people out, right? The technique is just not there. I have Kyle Kingsbury winning this fight by decision. On the undercard, I've got Ryan Bader over Jason Brills, Chris Weidman over Tom Lawler, Michael McDonald over Alex Soto. This is a tough one, but I'm going to go with Gleison Tibau over Rafael Dos Anjos. Miguel Torres, if you don't beat Nick Pace, it's over. Miguel Torres over Nick Pace, Matt Brown over Seth Blazinski, and Shamar Bailey over Danny Castillo. So there you go. Everybody, thanks for watching the video. 25,000 views for the MMA battle in less than a week. MMA, it's important. Peace.